Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Alex. Today, we're diving into something we all experience, whether we realize it or not. First impressions.
Oh, yes, that moment when you meet someone new, maybe a classmate, a coworker, or even someone on a date, and within seconds, your brain forms an opinion.
Exactly. It's like our brains are little judgment machines. We might think we're being open-minded, but science says we form impressions in less than 7 seconds, sometimes even faster.
Right, and those first few seconds can shape the entire relationship, personal, social, or professional. It's kind of wild when you think about it.
Totally. I remember once when I joined a new company, and on my first day, I was super nervous. My manager introduced me to the team, and I accidentally spilled coffee on the meeting table.
Oh no!
Yeah, it was embarrassing. Everyone laughed a bit, but inside I was panicking, thinking, great, now they'll always remember me as the coffee guy.
Poor Alex. But honestly, that's a perfect example. Even small moments can stick in people's minds. Our appearance, our tone, our attitude, all of it sends signals.
Exactly. And it's not just how others see us, it's also about how we perceive others. We all make snap judgments, even unconsciously.
Totally. Let's break it down a bit. A first impression is basically the initial perception or opinion someone forms about you or you about them based on limited information.
And that perception usually combines visual cues, like your body language, facial expressions, or what you're wearing, plus verbal cues, like tone of voice and choice of words.
Exactly. Think about meeting someone at a party. Before they even say a word, you've already noticed their posture, their smile, their confidence level.
Right. That's why people say you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Because once that mental image forms, it can be hard to change.
Yes, and that's where psychology gets interesting. Our brains are wired to make quick judgments because evolutionarily, it helped us survive. We had to decide fast whether someone was friend or foe.
So basically, first impressions are kind of like survival instincts dressed up in modern clothes.
That's a good way to put it. But seriously, even today, it affects our success in job interviews, dating, social life, networking, everything.
Absolutely. There's a famous study from Princeton, I think it was done by psychologist Alexander Todorov, where participants judged people's competence just by looking at their faces for a tenth of a second.
Wow, just a tenth of a second? That's faster than blinking.
Yep, and those quick judgments often predicted how people voted in elections. It shows how much weight we give to appearance and confidence.
That's actually kind of scary because what if someone just had a bad day or was nervous? Their entire image could be affected.
Exactly, and that's why understanding first impressions matters. If we're aware of how they form, we can control the image we project, at least to some extent.
Let's talk about that awareness for a second. I feel like most of us underestimate how much others are observing us.
So true. Like, you might think people don't notice that nervous habit, maybe playing with your hair, avoiding eye contact, but they do. And subconsciously, they use that information to decide if you're confident or trustworthy.
Right. There's this concept called the halo effect. It means when someone sees one positive trait, like being attractive or confident, they assume you have other good traits too, like being smart or kind.
Oh, yeah, and the reverse is true too. The horn effect. If someone sees one negative trait, like sloppiness or arrogance, they might assume you're also careless or unfriendly.
That's why small things like smiling, standing tall, or greeting people warmly can make a big difference. They create a positive halo around you.
Totally. It reminds me of how we judge service staff sometimes. If a waiter greets you with a genuine smile, you automatically feel more welcome, right?
Yes, even before tasting the food, you feel like this place is nice. That's first impressions in action.
Exactly, and it works both ways. The waiter might judge you as well, based on how you talk or behave, so it's always a two-way street.
Speaking of that, have you ever had a situation where your first impression of someone was totally wrong?
Oh yes, definitely. I once met a guy at a networking event who seemed really arrogant. He barely smiled, gave short answers. I thought, okay, he's not friendly. But later, I found out he was just super shy and nervous.
Oh, classic misunderstanding. Happens so often. I've done that too. Thought someone was cold or rude, but they were just introverted.
Exactly. That's why it's important not to lock our minds after that first impression. We should leave room for people to surprise us.
Absolutely. But at the same time, since we know people do judge quickly, it's smart to present ourselves intentionally.
Right. It's not about faking who you are, it's about highlighting your best self.
I like that phrase, highlighting your best self, because that's what first impressions are, giving people a snapshot of your positive qualities before they get to know the full picture.
Exactly. And you know what? First impressions aren't just about meeting new people. They happen every day.
True, even online. Think about social media profiles, LinkedIn photos, or even emails. People are forming impressions before meeting you in person.
Yes, like if your email tone sounds rude or careless, people might think you're unprofessional, even if you didn't mean to.
So, first impressions happen both offline and online, and they shape our reputation.
Right. And here's something else. First impressions don't just affect people's opinions, they affect opportunities.
Yes, totally. Like in job interviews, recruiters often make their minds in within the first few minutes, whether they see you as a fit or not.
Exactly. Even though interviews can last 30 minutes, the opening moments, your handshake, your smile, your greeting, set the tone.
I once read that hiring managers can make up their minds in as little as 90 seconds. That's crazy fast.
Yeah, which means preparation matters. Not just what you say, but how you carry yourself.
So, first impressions form instantly. They rely on both visual and verbal cues. They affect relationships, opportunities, and trust. And once formed, they can be hard to change.
Exactly, which is why it's worth learning how to make those first moments count.
All right, we've been talking about first impressions, what they are, and why they matter so much.
Yep, and now we're jumping into the good stuff, the practical side. How to actually make a great first impression.
Exactly, because knowing why it's important is one thing, but learning how to do it, that's what really helps in daily life.
Totally. And let's be clear, this isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about showing your authentic best self right from the start.
Yes. Let's start with the basics, the power of appearance. Dress the message you want to send. Like it or not, people do judge a book by its cover. Our appearance communicates so much before we even open our mouths.
Exactly. But that doesn't mean you need designer clothes or a perfect body. It's more about being neat, appropriate, and intentional.
Yes. Think about it. If you're meeting a client, you want your outfit to say, I'm professional and reliable. If you're going on a first date, you want it to say, I care and I put in effort.
Exactly. It's all about context. A clean, well-fitted shirt and tidy grooming can go a long way. It shows respect, both for yourself and the person you're meeting.
I once heard a saying, the way you dress is a form of communication. You're telling people who you are before saying a word.
Oh, that's a great quote. And it reminds me, confidence comes from feeling comfortable in what you wear. If you're constantly adjusting your outfit or feeling self-conscious, it shows.
Right. So wear something that's both appropriate and makes you feel good. That inner comfort shines outward.
Body language is the silent communicator. Okay, appearance aside, the next big thing is body language. Sometimes your posture, gestures, or smiles speak louder than words.
So true. Think about when you walk into a room. People instantly pick up on your energy.
Exactly. If you walk in slouched, avoiding eye contact with your arms crossed, it signals nervousness or defensiveness.
But if you walk in upright, smiling, and open, people feel like, oh, this person is confident and approachable.
There's actually a study from Harvard Business School by Amy Cuddy about power poses. She found that standing tall and open for just 2 minutes can boost confidence and even affect how others perceive you.
Yes, I love that TED Talk, fake it till you become it. Basically, when you act confident, your brain starts to feel confident.
Exactly. So before an important meeting or event, take a moment, breathe, stretch, stand tall, let your body lead your mind.
And don't forget eye contact. It's such a small thing, but it builds trust instantly.
Right. Too little eye contact can seem like disinterest. Too much can feel intimidating. The trick is to find a natural rhythm. Look at the person while they're talking, glance away occasionally, but stay engaged.
And smile, genuinely. Not a forced grin, but a real, warm smile that reaches your eyes.
Exactly. Smiling activates something in people's brains that says, "You're safe with me." It creates connection.
Voice and tone. It's not just what you say. Okay, next, your voice. You can say the same words in two different tones and get two completely different reactions.
Totally. If you say, "Nice to meet you," in a flat, bored tone, it sounds insincere. But with a little warmth and energy, "Nice to meet you," it instantly feels friendly.
Exactly. Tone communicates emotion. It's not just what you say, but how you say it.
I remember once I was presenting to a new client, and I was nervous, so I spoke really fast. Later, they told me they couldn't follow half of what I said. That's when I realized slowing down and speaking clearly makes you sound more confident.
Yes, pacing is key. When you rush, you sound unsure. When you pause naturally, you sound composed and thoughtful.
So if you're someone who gets anxious, try speaking slowly, record yourself, listen to how your tone changes when you're relaxed.
And add a little enthusiasm. People remember the way you made them feel, not just the facts you shared.
The power of listening. Here's something most people forget. Listening is part of making a great impression.
Yes, it's not about dominating the conversation. It's about making the other person feel heard.
Right. And it's funny, when someone listens really well, we automatically think they're kind, intelligent, and trustworthy.
That's the halo effect again. Active listening builds connection fast.
Right. So tips for that. Nod occasionally to show you're following, maintain eye contact, don't interrupt, reflect back what they said. Like, "That's interesting. You mentioned you recently moved here?"
Exactly. It shows you're engaged. And if you forget their name, don't panic. Just politely ask again. It's better than pretending you remember.
Mindset. Confidence without arrogance. Okay, let's talk about mindset, the invisible factor behind every first impression.
Yes, people can sense your energy. If you walk in thinking, I don't belong here, or I'm not good enough, that energy leaks through your tone and posture.
Totally. But if you walk in thinking, "I'm here to connect, not to impress," your whole vibe changes.
I love that. Connect, not impress. That's such a great mindset. It takes off the pressure.
Exactly. Because when you focus too much on impressing people, you often come off as fake or anxious. But when you focus on connecting, you're more relaxed, genuine, and warm.
And remember, confidence doesn't mean arrogance. It's quiet assurance, not loud superiority.
Exactly. A confident person makes others feel comfortable, not small.
Okay, let's talk about the little things that make a big difference.
Yes, like saying someone's name. It's powerful. People love hearing their own name. It makes interactions more personal.
Right. So instead of saying, nice to meet you, say, nice to meet you, Alex. That small touch creates warmth.
Another one, punctuality. Being on time shows respect. It tells the other person you value their time.
Absolutely. Being 5 minutes early is better than 1 minute late.
And don't forget your handshake, or, depending on culture, your greeting style. A firm but friendly handshake or a polite nod sets the tone.
Also, expressing gratitude. Thanks for having me. I appreciate your time. Those little courtesies are remembered.
Real life example, the job interview.
Let's put this into a real life example. Say a job interview.
Okay, so you walk in. First thing, appearance. You're dressed neatly, smile as you greet the interviewer.
You shake hands confidently, make eye contact, and say something like, "It's great to meet you. Thank you for the opportunity."
Then you sit with good posture, not stiff, but upright. You listen carefully to each question before answering.
And when you talk about your experience, keep your tone upbeat. If you don't know an answer, say, "That's a great question. Let me think about it for a moment," instead of panicking.
Yes, that shows composure. And before leaving, you say, "Thank you for your time. I really enjoyed our conversation."
Exactly. That's how you leave a lasting positive impression. Calm, polite, and confident.
Real life example, meeting someone socially.
Okay, let's do one more. Meeting someone at a social event or date.
Ooh, yes. So you imagine you're meeting someone for the first time at a cafe.
You arrive on time, smile warmly, make eye contact, and greet them naturally. Like, "Hey, it's great to finally meet you."
Then you stay curious. Ask open-ended questions like, what got you into your job? Instead of, do you like your job?
Exactly. And listen to the answers. Don't just wait for your turn to talk.
And here's a big one. Don't overshare too soon. Keep things light, positive, and authentic.
Exactly. First impressions aren't about telling your life story, they're about giving a glimpse of who you are.
Exactly. Because people remember how you made them feel more than what you said.
Exactly. So dress intentionally, use positive body language, speak with warmth and clarity, listen more than you talk, focus on connecting, not impressing, be authentic.
Perfect summary. When you combine these, you naturally create great first impressions, not just once, but every day.
Exactly. And in the real world, sometimes things don't go as planned. Maybe you said something awkward or felt like you blew it. Now, let's discuss how to recover from a bad first impression.
Yeah, because let's be real, no matter how much we prepare, sometimes things just go wrong.
Exactly. You spill your drink, you say something awkward, you freeze in an interview, or maybe you just feel like you didn't click with someone.
Been there. I think everyone has that bad first impression story they wish they could redo.
Same. But the good news is it's totally possible to turn things around. A bad first impression doesn't have to be permanent.
Absolutely. So let's talk about what you can actually do when that happens. Don't panic. Self-awareness is the first step.
The first thing, and maybe the hardest, is not to panic.
Yes, because when you panic, you make it worse. You start overthinking, replaying the moment in your head, and acting even more awkward afterward.
Exactly. Instead, take a breath. Ask yourself, okay, what actually happened? Sometimes we think the impression was terrible when it really wasn't.
That's so true. I once thought I totally bombed a presentation because I stumbled on a few words, but afterward, people said, that was great. No one even noticed my mistake.
Right. We're often way harsher on ourselves than others are.
So step one, don't spiral. Stay calm and remember that most people are more focused on themselves than on your tiny slip up.
Okay, let's say you did make an obvious mistake. Maybe you forgot someone's name or interrupted them accidentally. What then?
In that case, just acknowledge it simply and move on gracefully. Like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, or sorry, I completely blanked on your name.
Exactly. A touch of humility and humor goes a long way. People appreciate honesty more than awkward pretending.
Right. When you own your mistake calmly, it shows maturity and confidence. It's way better than acting like it didn't happen or over-apologizing.
Yes, over apologizing can make things weird. Like, if you keep saying, "I'm so sorry, I'm so embarrassed," it draws more attention to the mistake.
Exactly. Acknowledge it once, smile, and move on. Most people will mirror your energy and move on too.
Shift the focus from you to them. Here's a trick that always helps me. When I feel like I've made a bad impression, I shift my focus from me to them.
That's genius because when you're focused on how you look or sound, you get trapped in your own head.
Exactly. But when you start showing genuine interest in the other person, asking questions, listening attentively, it changes the dynamic completely.
Right. People like people who make them feel important. So if you make them feel heard and valued, they'll remember that more than your earlier awkwardness.
Exactly. It's like pressing a reset button in the conversation.
Let time do its magic. Here's another truth. Time can heal a bad first impression.
Yes. People's memories fade. If you consistently show up as your authentic, positive self afterwards, the initial awkward moment will become irrelevant.
Totally. I once worked with someone who, during our first meeting, came across as really arrogant. I didn't like him at all. But later, as I got to know him, I realized he was just nervous and trying too hard.
See? Over time, repeated positive interactions rewrite that first mental picture.
Exactly. It's like replacing an old photograph with a better one.
So if you think you messed up once, don't overcompensate. Just keep being kind, respectful, and consistent, and people will naturally adjust their perception.
Use humor when appropriate. You know what also works like magic? Humor.
Oh yeah, humor is the great diffuser. It can turn tension into connection.
Exactly. Like if you trip over your words, you can laugh it off lightly, like, well, that sentence took a wild turn, instead of freezing.
Yes, or if you spill your drink, just smile and say, making an entrance, literally.
That's perfect. The key is to laugh with yourself, not at yourself. Self-deprecating humor, when done lightly, makes you relatable and human.
Exactly. It shows that you're not fragile or defensive. People admire that kind of self-assurance.
Clarify or reframe the misunderstanding.
Okay, let's say the bad impression came from something you said that was taken the wrong way.
Yes, that happens a lot. Maybe you made a joke that didn't land or a comment that sounded harsher than you meant.
Right. In that case, don't ignore it. Gently clarify your intention. You can say, hey, I realized what I said earlier might have come off wrong. I didn't mean it that way.
Exactly. It shows awareness and emotional intelligence. Most people appreciate when you take the time to clear things up instead of letting awkwardness linger.
Yes, communication can fix most misunderstandings, but only if you're brave enough to address them respectfully.
Follow up and reinforce positive behavior. Here's something that helps in professional settings: the follow up.
Ooh, yes. If you feel like you didn't make a great impression at a meeting or interview, a thoughtful follow-up message can do wonders.
Right. Something like, thank you for your time today. I really enjoyed our discussion about topic. I appreciate the opportunity to connect.
Exactly. That simple gesture adds a layer of warmth and professionalism that can completely change how they remember you.
Same with friendships or social circles. If you said something awkward at a gathering, send a light message later. Like, hey, it was nice to chat with you earlier. Hope we can catch up again sometime.
Yes, it reopens the door in a positive way. People appreciate effort.
Consistency is the ultimate repair tool.
You know what's even stronger than words? Consistency.
Exactly. When someone sees you behaving kindly, respectfully, and reliably over time, their perception shifts automatically.
Yes, because one awkward moment can't define you, but repeated good behavior absolutely can redefine you.
Totally. Think of it like repainting a wall. You don't need one thick coat. You just need to keep adding thin, consistent layers until it looks right.
That's such a perfect analogy.
So if you want to fix a bad impression, don't just apologize once and disappear. Keep showing up as your best self. Let your actions do the talking.
Reframing the narrative. Here's a mindset shift I love. Instead of thinking, I made a bad impression, think, I made a human impression.
Ooh, that's beautiful, because mistakes are part of being human.
Exactly. Perfection is boring. Authenticity is memorable.
Yes, sometimes your little awkward moments make you more relatable. People might even remember you fondly.
Totally. The goal isn't to be flawless, it's to be real and kind.
Wrapping it all up. So let's recap everything we've talked about across this whole series.
All right, here's the quick rundown. Part 1, first impressions form fast, sometimes in seconds, and they matter because they shape opportunities and relationships.
Part 2, you can make great first impressions through appearance, body language, tone, active listening, and authenticity.
Part 3, if things go wrong, don't panic. Acknowledge, clarify, use humor, and let consistency rebuild trust.
Exactly. First impressions aren't destiny. They're just the first chapter of your story. You can always write better chapters afterward.
Oh, I love that. Not destiny, just the first chapter.
Yep. So next time you feel like you messed up, remember, people forget moments, but they remember character.
Beautifully said. So show up as your best self, be kind to yourself, and keep learning from every interaction.
Exactly. Every conversation is a chance to reset, reconnect, and grow.
And that's the real power of first impressions. Not just making them, but remaking them.
Perfect ending.
Thank you all for listening to Mind Talk Moments. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to share it with someone who's ever worried about making the wrong impression, because we've all been there.
And remember, the best impression you can ever leave is being genuine.
See you next time.